Over the next 2 weeks on The Bold and the Beautiful, from February 16th to 27th, I honestly think we're heading into some emotional chaos. Secrets are coming out, health scares are escalating, and to me, it feels like a messy love quad is about to explode. Let's start with the younger crowd, because that situation is getting complicated fast. Will Spencer is clearly frustrated, and I was wondering how long it would take before he pointed the finger at Ivy Forrester. He blames her for stirring up drama while he's trying to fix things with Electra Forrester. But from Electra's perspective, I can see why she's upset. She makes a valid point. Will wouldn't tolerate her living with another guy, so why should she be okay with Melissa Dillon staying on his property? Electra isn't comfortable with it anymore, and honestly, I don't blame her. Still, Will claims he can't just throw Dillon out. That hesitation says a lot to me. And when Ivy overhears the conversation, I think she might step in and push Electra to stand her ground. If that happens, this situation could spiral even faster. Meanwhile, over in the corporate battlefield, Bill Spencer is putting pressure on Eric Forrester to speed things up with the designs Katie Logan Spencer needs for her first collection. And I didn't realize how intense that pressure would become until Eric suddenly starts having breathing issues. That moment really stood out to me. Donna Logan Forrester is immediately concerned and wants him to go to the hospital. But if we know Eric, we know how stubborn he can be. I think his pride and determination are going to clash hard with reality here. Then comes the secret that shakes everything. Liam Spencer finally admits to Hope Logan Spencer that he's been keeping something from her. When Hope finds out that Eric is Katie's lead designer, I imagine she's going to completely lose it. To me, this feels like one of those reveals that doesn't just cause shock. It changes alliances. And it doesn't stop there. Bill joins Katie in telling Ridge Forrester and Brooke Logan Forrester that Eric is designing for Katie's new fashion house. That sets up a father-son showdown between Eric and Ridge. And I have to say, I think this confrontation could be brutal. There's history there. There's ego. There's pride. And now, there's health involved. Unfortunately, Eric suffers another medical setback. I was wondering if the stress would push him too far, and it looks like it might. If things worsen, he may not have a choice but to go to the hospital. But here's what really moves me. After everything, Eric makes a big confession. He talks about finding purpose again. That part feels deeply emotional. I think, for Eric, designing isn't just work. It's identity. It's life. And maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think he's ready to let that go, no matter the cost. Ridge and Brooke may try to convince him to step back, especially if Katie starts questioning whether his health can handle the pressure. That's going to create tension on every side. And I can't help but wonder, if Eric can't keep up, could Deacon Sharp step in? Maybe this is the opportunity that finally gives him a formal role at Logan and takes some weight off Eric's shoulders. Now back to the love quad, because that situation is heating up fast. Dillon grows closer to Will, which only complicates things further. At the same time, Electra may start leaning on RJ Forrester for support, and we all know what emotional support can turn into on this show. To me, this is shaping up to be a full-blown romantic entanglement. Will, Electra, Dillon, and RJ. Lines are blurring, loyalties are shifting, and feelings are definitely going to get hurt. Overall, these 2 weeks feel like a turning point. Health crises, family power struggles, romantic tension. It's classic Bold and the Beautiful energy. I think we're watching the beginning of some long-term consequences that could change these relationships for months to come. And honestly, I'm not sure anyone is walking away from this unscathed. The Bold and the Beautiful, spoilers for the week of February 16th, 2026, really have me thinking. When I watched the preview clip, I couldn't help but feel like everything is about to explode at once, emotionally and physically. An ambulance is called. Someone is clearly playing spy games, and there's a so-called prince complicating things even further. Let me break down what I think is coming. First, Ivy Forrester is absolutely stirring the pot. I watched her strut through the halls of Forrester Creations like she already knew she had the upper hand. When she overhears Will Spencer talking to Electra Forrester, it felt deliberate, like she wanted to witness the fallout she helped create. Electra already dumped Will, and I was wondering if she might regret that decision. Will insists nothing happened, and honestly, to me, he seems sincere. He even refuses to throw Dylan out on the streets again, which says something about his character. But when he blames Ivy for ruining everything, Elektra pushes back hard. And I think she has a point. If the roles were reversed, would Will be okay with her living with another guy? Probably not. That double standard is hard to ignore. Then there's the so-called Prince problem. Watching Dylan comfort Will while he's spiraling over losing Elektra felt complicated. Maybe I'm wrong, but that hug looked like more than friendly support. And if Dylan keeps gushing about her prince, that's only going to blur the lines even further. Will already has a mess on his hands. This could turn into a full-blown emotional triangle. But the most shocking moment for me was Eric. When I saw Eric Forrester standing there with Donna Logan Forrester while confronting Ridge Forrester and Brooke Logan Forrester. About designing for Katie Logan Spencer, I felt the tension immediately. As Katie and Ace and Bill Spencer listened, Eric passionately defended his ability to design, and honestly, I didn't realize how deeply this still affects him. Ridge tried to apologize, but it was too late. The second Eric clutched his chest, I knew we were heading somewhere serious. Hearing Ridge yell for someone to call 911 completely shifted the tone. One moment, it's a heated family argument. The next, it's a medical emergency. What really stands out to me is that Eric seemed fine while he was actually designing. The stress hit when he had to defend himself, again, to Ridge. That emotional strain might be the real trigger here. Now I can't help but wonder, will this crisis finally bring the Forresters together? Or could it deepen the rift even more? I could easily see Ridge and Brooke blaming Bill and Katie, especially if they believe the pressure pushed Eric too far. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this scare forces everyone to reevaluate what really matters. This upcoming week feels like a turning point. Between Ivy's manipulation, Will's unraveling love life, and Eric's terrifying collapse, the drama is reaching a peak. And I think we're about to see just how fragile these relationships really are. I've been thinking a lot about where this storyline is headed on The Bold and the Beautiful, and I have to say, while everyone seems laser-focused on what Sheila Carter might do to Taylor Hayes once the truth comes out, I can't help but feel like we're all looking in the wrong direction. To me, the person who should really be bracing for impact isn't Taylor, it's Deacon Sharp. I mean, yes, Deacon may have fallen for Taylor. Maybe his feelings are real. Maybe he didn't expect it to happen. But I was wondering, since when does "I didn't mean for it to happen" excuse betraying your wife? He's a married man. He knows exactly who Sheila is. He knows the history, and yet he's still making choices that practically guarantee chaos. What really gets me is the irony. Deacon is usually the first to talk about growth, redemption, and doing the right thing. He loves positioning himself as someone who has evolved. But right now, I didn't realize how quickly that moral high ground could crumble. He's giving advice he clearly can't follow himself. And that's why, if I'm being honest, I think Sheila has every reason to feel humiliated. Betrayal hits differently when it comes from the one person you thought was finally on your side. We all know Sheila's track record. She doesn't exactly process heartbreak in a calm, rational way. So if her inner beast comes out, can we really say we didn't see it coming? Now, I may be wrong, but part of me actually finds this storyline entertaining precisely because it's so outrageous. It's not logical, it's not rational, but that's classic soap opera territory, isn't it? The emotional stakes are sky high, and when the fallout hits, it's going to be explosive. I've also been thinking about Taylor in all of this. There's something almost poetic about her, the therapist, ending up in such a messy, emotional triangle. Some viewers see hypocrisy there, and I can understand why. At the same time, I can't deny that it adds layers to her character. Perfect moral authority doesn't make for compelling television. Flawed humanity does. Still, I do wonder, what if Sheila didn't choose revenge this time? What if she shocked everyone and walked away? That would be the real twist. But knowing her history, I'm not sure the writers are ready to take her in that direction. And honestly, love triangles are the bread and butter of daytime drama. On The Bold and the Beautiful, especially, romance almost always comes with collateral damage. They could have given Taylor a completely separate love interest, something fresh and uncomplicated, but instead, they've tied her right into Sheila's orbit. Maybe that's the point. Maybe this isn't just about romance at all. Maybe it's about testing whether people truly change, or whether, under pressure, they fall right back into old patterns. One thing's for sure, when the truth finally explodes, it won't just be Taylor feeling the heat. If I were Deacon, I'd be a lot more worried about what happens next. I was honestly excited when Ivy Forrester finally came back to The Bold and the Beautiful after being off canvas for more than 5 years. When Ashley Brewer returned in 2025, I thought, okay, here we go, Ivy 2.0. But looking back, I can't help but feel like her big comeback has been oddly specific. To me, it's wild that since her return, her main storyline has basically been stalking Miss Dillon and orchestrating her exit from town. That's it. That's the arc. Sure, Ivy shared a few short, sweet scenes with Liam Spencer, and I won't lie, I felt a little nostalgia there. But those moments were fleeting. And now? The more we see of Ivy, the more I find myself wondering if the show is intentionally unraveling her sanity. At first, I thought it was hilarious watching Ivy sneaking around in the bushes, whispering about Dylan not being proper. It felt campy, classic soap. But when I actually say that out loud, she was hiding in shrubs, muttering moral judgments, it suddenly sounds less quirky and more concerning. If I were Electra Forrester, I'd probably be looking up psychiatric referrals for my aunt. And here's where it gets funny to me. Taylor Hayes just happens to have a pretty open schedule right now. Maybe Ivy should book an emergency session? If we're going by Deacon's glowing Yelp-style praise, Taylor is apparently the therapist of the year. This week, Ivy is going to have to face the music. Will Spencer and Electra are demanding answers? Why did she threaten Dylan? What was she thinking? And honestly, I don't know if Ivy even believes she did anything wrong. I have a feeling she's going to double down and insist she was just protecting her niece from improper behavior. But here's what really gets me. The general vibe online seems to be that Ivy has officially cracked. And I hate to say it, but I kind of see why people think that. After months of being single, living like a spinster, and getting quietly rejected by Liam, it almost feels like she redirected all that frustration into policing Electra's love life. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Ivy sees something in Dylan that the rest of us are missing. Maybe there's a twist coming that will justify all this shrubbery surveillance. But right now, to me, it looks less like protective aunt energy and more like someone who desperately needs a storyline, and maybe a man of her own. What I do know is this. Ivy's return had so much potential. I just hope the writers are building towards something bigger, because if this is her long-term arc, then I'm genuinely concerned, for her and for us. February 16, 20 is shaping up to be a week full of tension and suspense on The Bold and the Beautiful. From my perspective, it seems like everyone's emotions are about to boil over. Will is desperately trying to patch things up with Electra, while an explosive confrontation between Eric and Ridge threatens to spiral out of control. Thanks to Ivy, it looks like Will and Electra's relationship is hanging by a thread, maybe even gone for good. I was surprised at how easily Electra believed Ivy's claims about Will and Dylan's not proper behavior. When Will refused to kick Dylan out, Electra walked away. Honestly, I didn't see her leaving that quickly, but I guess she has her own sense of boundaries. But Will isn't ready to throw in the towel. This week, he finds a private moment with Electra at Forrester Creations, and of course, Ivy is eavesdropping. Will tries to make Electra see that Ivy is stirring the pot, but Electra is having none of it. She even points out that if the roles were reversed, Will probably wouldn't be thrilled about a guy moving in with her. To me, that was a fair point, and maybe Will should have considered it sooner. From the looks of it, their reconciliation doesn't happen. Will goes home later, clearly needing comfort, and Dylan is there. With Electra out of the picture, it feels like the writers are nudging us toward a potential Will and Dylan storyline. I can't help but wonder, could sparks finally fly between them? Meanwhile, the Eric-Katie secret is no longer safe. Ridge and Brooke find out that Eric is Logan's new designer and storm over to the Forrester mansion. Things escalate quickly, with Eric standing his ground. He insists he still has the right to design, while Ridge tries to persuade him otherwise. I have to say, Eric's determination to follow his passion, even against his son, is classic Forrester stubbornness. The arrival of Katie and Bill adds even more fuel to the fire. I wasn't expecting that twist, but now Ridge has to face the fact that Eric's choices weren't made in a vacuum. Arguments flare, accusations fly, and everyone is on edge. And just when the drama couldn't get any higher, Eric suddenly feels lightheaded. He sits down, and panic sets in. Bill and Donna rush to help, and Ridge orders someone to call 911. It looks like Eric is headed for another health crisis, which could put his design career and the family feud on hold. To me, this week looks like a mix of heartbreak, tension, and shocking developments. Will this crisis finally slow down the Forrester-Logan feud? Or will it just add more chaos? I have a feeling it's going to be messy, in the best soap opera way, The Bold and the Beautiful. Spoilers, Monday, February 16th, 2026. I was wondering what Monday's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful might bring, and it looks like Liam Spencer could be wrestling with a secret that's hard to keep. Liam's recent discovery that Eric Forrester is Katie Logan Spencer's new lead designer has put him in a tough spot. Eric and Bill Spencer made it clear that Liam needs to keep quiet. And at first, he admitted that hiding this from Hope Logan Spencer would be nearly impossible. In the end, though, he agreed to stay silent. To me, this sets up a tense situation. If Hope starts sensing that Liam is hiding something, she's bound to dig for the truth. And if Liam finally confesses, you know she might spill it straight to Brooke Logan Forrester. Secrets never stay buried in this family. Meanwhile, Will Spencer is caught between heartbreak and responsibility. He genuinely wants to help Dylan, but the tension is palpable since Dylan keeps calling him my prince, showing just how obsessed he's becoming. On top of that, Will is trying to make things right with Electra Forrester, yet Electra points out a valid concern. Would Will ever be okay with her living with another guy? She has a point, and I can't say I blame her. Adding to the drama, Ivy Forrester happens to overhear Will and Electra's conversation. You just know she's going to make something of it. And with Electra stepping back, Dylan sees an opportunity. He doesn't hesitate to hug Will, and Will doesn't pull away. It's complicated, messy, and exactly the kind of tension that keeps me hooked. On the other side of town, Deacon Sharp can't stop thinking about Taylor Hayes, and it seems Taylor feels the same pull. Even though she promised to end things, it's clear that neither of them will have an easy time moving on. Meanwhile, Sheila Carter Sharp is about to realize that Deacon has been betraying her all along. I was wondering, do Deacon and Taylor even deserve whatever punishment Sheila decides to dish out? Monday's episode looks set to be full of secrets, heartbreak, and betrayals. From Liam's hidden dilemma to Will navigating his complicated feelings and Deacon and Taylor's forbidden connection, there's a lot to unpack. The latest Bold and the Beautiful spoilers hint that the fallout from Dylan and Will Spencer's scandalous ballet session is about to shake things up for the younger crowd in La La Land. It all kicks off when Dylan gets caught dumpster diving, and Ivy Forrester has no choice but to spill the tea about what she actually saw Will Spencer Jr. doing while his girlfriend was away. The big question now: how far will Electra Forrester go to get revenge on her boyfriend and his roommate? Electra has no clue that her aunt caught Dylan in a tutu, dancing for her man. Once the truth comes out, you can bet Electra is going to erupt. The fact that she had already warned Will and his roommate to keep their distance, only to have them ignore her, will make the betrayal sting even more. Of course, Bold and the Beautiful spoilers suggest Will probably insist that Ivy is overreacting. Technically, nothing happened. But let's be honest, Will's not exactly innocent here. This isn't even his first brush with questionable behavior. Remember his hookup with Luna Nozawa? Electra forgave him because he was too drunk to know who he was with, but she hasn't forgotten. Now, it looks like Electra might even push to take a break from Will. And when RJ Forrester catches wind of the trouble in paradise, you know he'll be circling. He's already made it clear to his mom that he's interested in Electra and just waiting for her to be available. What's interesting is that Electra is showing a side we haven't seen before. Could it be that Forrester DNA kicking in? She's starting to get catty, a little petty, and maybe even strategic. Will she give RJ a chance just to get back at Will? Or is there still hope for her relationship with Will? For now, the drama is just heating up, and one thing's certain: things in La La Land are never boring. Deacon Sharp finds himself tangled in one of the trickiest situations of his life, a love triangle. On the surface, being pursued by two captivating women might seem thrilling, but for Deacon, the pressure to make the right choice is intense. Recent episodes of The Bold and the Beautiful have shown Ridge ordering him away from Taylor, his current love, fearing the fallout from Sheila. And yet, while Taylor brings comfort and stability, his connection with Sheila is undeniable. Deacon's attraction to Sheila began in 2022 as part of a mutual scheme, but it quickly turned into something deeper, ultimately leading to their marriage. Sheila lifted him up during his darkest moments, boosting his confidence when he needed it most. Taylor, on the other hand, has been a trusted friend and therapist, someone who truly understands his pain. Choosing between them is far from easy. Deacon first met Taylor Hayes in July 2022, shortly after Brooke reunited with Ridge. Taylor was heartbroken over the reunion, and Deacon felt abandoned by Hope's mother. What followed were candid conversations between two people who had both been hurt and left vulnerable. That shared history forms the foundation of their unique bond. For Deacon and Taylor, the connection goes beyond mere attraction. They see and understand each other's heartbreak in a way no one else can. Deacon has the rare ability to comfort Taylor when Ridge wavers between her and Brooke, just as Taylor has helped him navigate the deceit and chaos brought on by Sheila. Her counseling sessions have grounded him, giving him perspective and healing, a dynamic that goes beyond ordinary romance. Their chemistry is undeniable. Taylor, long accustomed to being the overlooked lover, seems to be rediscovering her playful, unguarded side with Deacon. And Deacon, in turn, is reminded of the good in himself, a side Sheila could never bring out. As outsiders in a world dominated by the Forresters and Brooke, both Deacon and Taylor find solace in each other. Ridge has always dismissed Deacon, but Taylor sees the man behind the missteps, the one deserving of love and understanding. Yet, the obstacles are immense. Taylor has been repeatedly pushed aside in the destiny story of Ridge and Brooke, with the Forrester family dictating her choices. Being pressured to end things with Deacon has left her feeling misunderstood, a common struggle that draws the two even closer. Deacon, for his part, has long searched for acceptance. Despite fathering a child with Brooke, he was never truly embraced by her. His wife Sheila, though devoted, carries a criminal past and a penchant for deception. While their marriage has its highs, her history and secrets, like hiding Luna's pregnancy and the circumstances behind it, have fractured his trust. Meanwhile, Taylor represents a chance at normalcy, decency, and stability, a love where he can finally breathe without constantly bracing for the next betrayal. Sheila, of course, has been transformative for Deacon as well. Since meeting her in August 22, he's been captivated by a woman who made him feel valued and loved in ways Brooke never did. Together, they've built a life, managing Il Giardino like a family business, sharing responsibilities, and supporting each other's goals. Sheila's loyalty and devotion are unwavering, and she even encourages his counseling with Taylor, believing it strengthens their marriage. But Deacon knows that beneath Sheila's calm exterior, the unpredictable and dangerous side of her still exists. Any betrayal could have catastrophic consequences, not just for him, but for Taylor and everyone else around them. The stakes are high, and the pressure from the Forresters only adds to the tension. Hope and Deke quietly support a romance with Taylor, while Ridge and Steffi are determined to keep them apart. Caught between the stability and trust of Taylor and the devotion and excitement of Sheila, Deacon is facing one of his toughest choices yet. Will he follow his heart toward the love that heals, or stay in a marriage that promises security but comes with risk? As recent episodes have shown, Sheila is already suspicious of the late-night therapy sessions with Taylor, meaning the next chapter is set to erupt with drama. Deacon Sharp's love triangle isn't just a personal dilemma. It's a powder keg waiting to explode in The Bold and the Beautiful. The question remains, will he fight for what he truly wants, or will caution and circumstance dictate his path? Bold and the Beautiful, spoilers hint that by the end of this week, Will Spencer is going to be absolutely raging, and I can't help but think it's only a matter of time before his dad, Bill Spencer, drags him into a new layer of the revenge game he's plotting against Forrester Creations. Here's why I think Will might be ready to quit his job at Forrester and join his parents over at Logan Designs. Bill could easily rope him in as part of his scheme against the Forresters, especially Ridge Forrester. Right now, it's clear that Will is firmly Team Dylan. He's fed up with Ivy Forrester bullying Dylan to the point where she's back living in her car. Will basically had to drag Dylan to his place because she was too scared to stay anywhere else. Naturally, Will calls Electra Forrester, insisting she come over immediately. Electra is shocked to learn that Ivy told Dylan to lie to both her and Will and leave town. Or else. After that, Will invites Ivy to a party because he wants answers. And I'm betting Ivy won't hold back. By week's end, Electra is questioning why her aunt would force Dylan out on the streets. She's already feeling bad for Dylan, having noticed Ivy's weird behavior whenever Dylan was mentioned. But I suspect Electra's sympathy is about to evaporate by Friday. That's when Ivy spills the truth, at least from her perspective, about what Dylan and Will were up to while Electra was away. Ivy claims Dylan was in Will's lap and they were about to kiss after spending the day together, despite Electra's explicit instructions to stay away from him. From Ivy's angle, Dylan was trying to steal Electra's man. When Ivy lays it all out, Will is going to snap. He'll go full-on rage mode in Ivy's face, and I'm guessing she'll fire right back. Will is offended by the idea that he was making a move on Dylan. On top of that, Electra hits him with a jaw-dropping ultimatum, likely demanding he apologize to Ivy and forbidding him from seeing or helping Dylan anymore, even if that means leaving her to sleep in her car. Let's be real, most women wouldn't handle finding out their guy had another woman on his lap while they were gone. Will's insistence that Dylan put on her ballet outfit and dance, not helping his case. From the audience perspective, we know Will was just daydreaming, but Electra and Ivy don't. And even if Will didn't mean anything by it, it's sending mixed signals. Remember, Will's no stranger to messy situations. He recently kissed Luna Nozawa and let her get a little too handsy while trying to help Chief Baker get a confession. Electra was furious, and I get it. He's a young guy in his 20s, prone to impulsive decisions. Deep down, I do think he truly loves Electra, though he may secretly enjoy Dylan's attention. After this explosive showdown, I wouldn't be surprised if Will turns to his parents, Katie Logan and Bill, for perspective. They might validate that Ivy overreacted, and Electra should have cut him some slack. Katie, in particular, could remind Will that he's a good guy for helping Dylan when she had nowhere else to go. Will already told Deke Sharp that his time at Forrester Creations might be ending soon. I think he's seriously considering it. That's where Bill could swoop in, inviting Will to work with the family, either at Logan Designs or Spencer Publications, and leave the drama of Forrester behind. It makes sense. Will has no desire to deal with Ivy's constant judgment at work, and with Electra's ultimatum and Ridge, Steffi, and Brooke all likely weighing in, staying at Forrester could feel impossible. Once Will joins Logan, I can see Bill pulling him into his revenge plan against the Forresters. Bill's already plotting a big reveal in Eye on Fashion, showing Eric Forrester as Logan's new lead designer because Ridge forced him out of the company he founded. That's going to humiliate Ridge, and if Will's departure is framed as another Forrester slight, it adds fuel to the fire. This whole mess with Will, Dylan, Electra, and Ivy could ripple through other storylines. I've felt for a while that Will was headed to Spencer or Logan eventually, and it wouldn't surprise me if that transition happens by the end of February sweeps, which wraps up on the 25th. Electra and Will aren't breaking up, at least not yet, but things are going to get rocky. Between Ivy's aggression, Electra's ultimatum, and Bill's tempting offer, Will is primed to find a workplace where he's appreciated, drama-free, and surrounded by family support. The Bold and the Beautiful might be gearing up for the most explosive Forrester family shakeup yet. And at the center of it all, Eric's hidden designer role, ready to blow the roof off Forrester Creations. Ridge is about to feel blindsided, but the real curveball could come from Thomas. His return might spark a power move nobody saw coming. Thomas has been quietly designing in Paris, but he's been keeping a close eye on everything happening back home. The tension between Eric and Ridge has reached a boiling point, and soon someone will be forced to pick a side. That's where Thomas steps in, but his motives are far from straightforward. He knows Eric's frustration intimately. Thomas has fought for his place at the table before, and that shared struggle could push him to publicly defend his father. But his loyalty doesn't end there. Thomas has been carefully rebuilding his reputation, and he's not about to let Ridge's anger derail his new path. This moment might be his chance to claim a bigger role and wield real influence within the company. Ridge expects Thomas to follow family tradition, attack Eric when the secret comes out. But what if Thomas refuses? Ridge could see his son's loyalty to Eric as a betrayal, opening a rift between father and son that runs deeper than anyone anticipated. Of course, this won't happen in a vacuum. Steffi will likely jump in to shield Ridge, while Brooke will question Thomas's true intentions. Family dinners could turn into battlegrounds, and the Forrester name, once a symbol of unity, may now become a lightning rod for conflict. And Thomas? That's exactly the leverage he's been waiting for. Eric working under Katie shifts the balance of power, giving the Logan family new influence, and indirectly giving Hope for the future an unexpected boost. Thomas has watched Hope's line rise and fall and knows the value of timing and momentum. Supporting Eric could quietly strengthen Hope's brand while solidifying his own place at Forrester. In other words, Thomas's return might not be about restoring peace at all. It could be a calculated strategy. By positioning himself between two feuding generations, he could seize control no one intended to hand him. Once Eric's secret is out, the Forrester family won't simply move on. Trust will fracture. Alliances will form. And Thomas may just step into the spotlight amid the chaos. The bold and the beautiful could be setting the stage for a new leadership war. And Thomas may not just survive the storm, he could rise because of it. The bold and the beautiful is buzzing again as Carter and Daphne race toward their glamorous wedding. Their whirlwind romance has fans swooning, but I can't help wondering, are there cracks hiding beneath all that sparkle? Muriel Hilaire recently dropped some hints about what's really in store for this fast-moving union, and it's giving me all the questions. Even Muriel admits that Daphne's journey surprised her. She came to Los Angeles laser-focused on business, but somehow fell straight into Carter's arms. Their instant chemistry thrilled viewers, but Muriel teases that not everything is as picture-perfect as it seems. She explains that Carter's intensity can be overwhelming for Daphne, even when she keeps her composure. To me, that sets the stage for some interesting tension. And here's where things get juicy. Daphne never really planned a life in LA. She built her brand carefully, avoiding emotional chaos. But now she's caught between love and responsibility. Muriel points out that this inner conflict is adding friction to the wedding buildup. She also warns that rushing into commitment often uncovers hidden issues. Carter's history with impulsive relationships looms over this storyline. Muriel notes that he falls fast and pushes harder, hoping love can fix everything. Daphne admires his devotion, but still questions his pace. I think what's really compelling is how Muriel highlights Daphne's fear. She worries that Carter expects a perfection she can't always deliver. Fans are already buzzing about this. Carter craves stability, while Daphne values authenticity and space. On good days, their desires align beautifully, but Muriel confirms that some big conversations haven't happened yet. If those issues surface after the honeymoon phase, this wedding could face cracks sooner than anyone expects. Muriel also hints that Daphne may reach an emotional crossroads soon. She suggests that Daphne's independence will remain central to her choices, even after the vows. That makes me wonder, will their differences spark conflict once married life fully sets in?